Hello, everyone, and welcome to this UK Week Live Q&A session. My name is Jenna Hartzell, and I'm the British Council's Education Manager in the USA. Today's session will focus on everything related to the university search process and applying to a UK university. Whether you're just thinking about applying or you've already started your university search, this live Q&A will help you solve any doubts for you to prepare to study and live in the UK. We're joined today by Jackie Christopher, Development Manager for North America from Falmouth University, and Jenny Oxley, Head of Internationalization from Leeds Arts University. Hi, Jackie. Hi, Jenny.
Hi, Jenna.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
Jackie and Jenny will be answering questions about the university search process and admissions in the UK. In about 20 minutes time, we will then talk to Peter Brimstone, International Officer from Queen's University Belfast, and Ashley Smith, International Recruitment Officer from University of Strathclyde, who will be answering all of your questions related to applying to the UK. Make sure to type in your questions in the comments and we'll answer as many questions as we can. To start off, please say hello in the comments and let us know where you're joining us from. To start, it would be great to hear from both of you, Jackie and Jenny, a little bit about your university and where your university is based within the UK. Yes, Jackie, we can start with you.
Great, thanks, Jenna. Hi, everyone. My name is Jackie Christopher. I'm with Falmouth University, and Falmouth University is located in Southwest England in a beautiful beachside town in Cornwall. If you've heard of the county, it's absolutely stunning. If you haven't, please Google the location. But yeah, we have 9 academic departments. We've been teaching for over 100 years, and we specialize in creative industry subjects. So what does that mean? So we are a very arts-focused university, but we look at the creative industries and really hands-on practical skills as soon as you start your degree. Our degrees are 3 years long, and you go directly into the subjects. To find out more, please reach out to me. But that's just a little bit about Falmouth, and I will now pass it on to Jenny.
Thank you, Jackie, and thank you, Jenna. Thanks for having me today. So my name is Jenny Oxley, and I'm the Head of Internationalization at Leeds Arts University. So we are quite a similar institution to Falmouth in that we are a specialist arts university, and we're based in the city of Leeds, which is one of the largest cities in the UK. We're based in the north of England, and Leeds has actually been voted as the UK's best student city. So there's lots going on, lots happening, lots of good shopping, nightlife, and beautiful countryside around us. So we're a small specialist arts institution, so creative and visual arts is all we do. And again, similar to Falmouth, our courses are very hands-on and very practice-based, so really aimed at students who want to be designing, making, producing their own work. And our courses are 3 years long at undergraduate level and 1 year long at postgraduate level.
Fantastic, thank you. And I wanted to say a quick hello to those joining us in the comments. So we have people joining us from Seattle, from Jackson Hole, from Massachusetts. So thank you so much for being here, and we hope to get to all of your questions during this Q&A. So let's start with a question for you, Jackie. What are the undergraduate application options available for US students applying to UK universities?
Yeah, so there's a few. I would say the main resource to apply to UK universities is what's called UCAS, which is very similar to the Common App application in the US, but it's for the UK system. And it's a system where you can find all courses from all different universities, all in the same system. And you can only apply up to 5 UK universities through that system. Or you can apply through Common App, but it only is limited to a certain number of universities that are listed. I believe it's 16 or 17. So you are limited. But if you have a range of universities that are outside of Common App, then UCAS might be a better option for you. Another option is our a direct online application where you can apply directly through the university system. So like I said, there's 3 different options. Definitely, do your research, look and see which one is the best fit for you, and what their policies are when applying.
Great. Thanks, Jackie. And Jenny, on the postgraduate side, what is the best way for students to apply to a UK university for a postgraduate course like a master's degree?
So the best way to apply to a UK university for a postgraduate course would be direct to that university. So what I would recommend is kind of identifying the courses or the areas of interest to you, and then checking out the universities that offer that courses and deciding which is the best fit for you, and then planning how to apply to that particular university, which is normally very clear on their website, and they'll explain everything. Like, for example, if there's an application fee, which some universities have, but not all, and the process, any deadlines they might have, and also any extra materials that might be required. So, for example, a portfolio, which is often required for creative arts degrees.
Great. And for students looking at applying to UK universities at the undergraduate or postgraduate level, how many universities should they apply to?
For the undergraduate level, it really depends on the university's policies, how many applications they're on. We always recommend to apply through UCAS because that is your main source of tracking all of your applications, and you can only apply up to 5 UK universities. With Common App, you can apply to as many as you like depending on the policy of the university. But if you apply through Common App and through UCAS, it can be a little bit tricky. So something to look into, and we can discuss, outside or, away from, because it's like I said, we recommend just using one system. Or there's another way, you can apply through UCAS and through a direct online application, as long as it doesn't say the policy saying, hey, you can only apply if you apply through us and you apply through direct online application, you can't go through UCAS. I know it's a little bit tricky. Like I said, we can discuss that further as we go along. There are some tricks and methods to the system, but like I said, just stick with UCAS. That's your best option.
Going to you, Jenny, what should students include in their application?
In the application, so what I would recommend is, if you are applying through UCAS, there will be a very standard form of what you should include. A very important part of that is your personal statement, which of course explains exactly why you have chosen that course and why you want to study it, and why you're a good fit for that. As Jackie mentioned, you can apply through UCAS for up to 5 universities. So it's really important to remember that the same application goes to all 5 of those universities. So when you're writing something like your personal statement, you want to make sure that you keep it very general, but also focused on the course. Keep it general as to the universities that you're applying for. Because while the university doesn't see which other universities you have applied for, if you talk about a different university in your personal statement, that could affect whether the university thinks you're a good fit for them, if you're really enthusiastic about a different university in your personal statement. You also will need an academic reference as part of the application, and for undergraduate applications that is included as part of the UCAS form. For postgraduates, you might need to source that separately and then send it on to the university, or submit it at the same time as your application. Then you also need to just keep an eye out for any other requirements. So for example, for courses like ours, you will need a portfolio, like I mentioned. For other courses, there might be additional requirements as well, so that are outside the application, but the university should contact you to request those after you've submitted your application. So don't worry too much about that at the initial application stage.
Great, thank you. And you mentioned some tips around the personal statement in terms of keeping it general. For example, since if students apply through UCAS, that one personal statement will go to all 5 of the courses that they're applying to, if they're applying up to the maximum of 5 courses. Jackie, do you have any other top tips for students when they're approaching writing their personal statement?
Yes, I would be more direct about the subjects of what they're applying into, and giving us an understanding of what their knowledge is in that field, what they know. And what's also important is, why do you want to study in the UK, right? That's a major thing we want to see as well. We also want to see your skills, how those interpersonal skills can relate to your degree and also studying in the UK. But those are generally, I mean, it's only a few paragraphs for the personal statement, so I don't want to go too into it. But Jenny, do you have anything else you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, sure. You also want to include any kind of work experience that you've done to find out about the area of study that you're interested in. And as well as telling us why you want to study that area, maybe also talk about your future aspirations and how the course is going to help you to achieve that.
Fantastic. Thank you. We can go to a question that's come up in the chat, and thank you, Nikki, for this question. So Nikki asked, I'd like to hear what colleges in the UK will use in terms of standardized tests for admission, since the subject tests no longer exist in the US. I work at a non-AP school, so our students will not sit for AP exams. All they will be able to submit is ACT or SAT scores. And I know this is something that is, university by university, as entry criteria do vary by university and even by course within a university. So Jackie and Jenny, do you have any advice or information for Nikki?
Yes. First off, Nikki, I am so sorry that you have to deal with this year, especially since, they've just announced the cancellation of SAT subject tests, and not just to you, but to every counselor that is on this call right now. We understand, how difficult this might be, and we're here to support you throughout the steps. So, I mean, especially, so here's one thing that you did point out, is that your school does not offer APs. So that's a really good indication. That's something that you would definitely need to flag up with the university. And, a lot of us understand this. We understand that a lot of schools are transitioning away from APs. So what I would do is I would still search with the student, do the same normal process of trying to find the right fit for the student. But before you apply, make sure you reach out to the representative of that university to make sure, hey, this is our curriculum. This is what, our school offers. Would you be willing to accept what the student has? This is a great student, GPA, blah, and so forth. They will be honest with you. They will give you a heads up of, okay, this will be a good fit. They will encourage you or not to apply. And I think that would be your best option right now. Unfortunately, there isn't a main resource to find this information. But like I said, all of us are understanding. We understand what's going on, and how complicated this might be for you guys right now. So like I said, just reach out to us, and we're happy to help.
I think, to add to that, I think Jackie is absolutely right. I think, it's a difficult, tricky subject at a difficult time, but we will do our best to support you, and we take all applications on a case-by-case basis, and we are able to also look at things like honours classes or college level classes that students might have taken. So we will take all of that into account, and we will look at applications sympathetically from students who are in that situation, because we know it's been very difficult for everyone.
Great. And I also want to say, in my role here in the US, I can drop my email in the chat, and counselors and students and parents, please feel free to reach out to me if you need to get in touch with the university and their international officer. I'm happy to connect you and put you in touch, because we know this is a time of shifting landscape, so we want to make sure you're able to be in touch directly with the university to hear from them. So thank you, Nikki, for that question. And we'll go next to another question from the chat. So Rochelle asked, how can we get a good handle on the cost of attending a UK university, which is a great question. And Jenny and Jackie, do you have any resources that you advise US students to look at when they're thinking about the cost of a UK university?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a really good place to start is UKISA and their website, which is the UK Council for International Student Affairs. And they have a detailed kind of breakdown and a student budget calculator, which will give you a good idea. Apart from that, the best resource is going to be the websites of the universities that you're interested in. And any UK university that is eligible to administer US direct loans will have a cost of attendance detailed on their website, which will give you an exact kind of, it will be very average because it will be kind of average rent costs, average subsistence costs, but it will give you a really good idea of the costs of attending that university. And I think something that's really important to remember as well is that the vast majority of UK degrees, a standard UK undergraduate degree will be 3 years long compared to 4 in the US. So it can be a very cost-effective option. I know you have to factor in the travel and the visa costs as well, but it can be an effective, a cost-effective option of attending university.
Yep. To add to that, yeah, exactly what Jenny was saying. And when you reach out to the university, they will give a cost of attendance. Just make sure to note that a lot of those costs are inflated just because they want to give you enough cushion room because of the conversion. And, you know, if any changes with conversion, once the student arrives on campus, they have that fluctuation just to first security, you know, just to make sure they have enough while they come. So it might seem a bit high to you when you look at the cost of attendance. They also added airfare, visas, all that stuff where you might not need to add those costs of attendance in if you're paying out of pocket, but just something to be aware of in the future.
Great. Thank you both. And thank you again for the questions in the chat from Rochelle and Nikki. And Melissa, we'll also get to your question in just a moment. I've been notified that another one of our university reps has joined, so we'll be bringing on Ashley Smith, International Recruitment Officer from University of Strathclyde. Hi, Ashley.
Hi, everyone. Lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you too. We're also expecting to be joined in a little bit by Peter Brimstone, International Officer from Queen's University Belfast. I think he may be having some trouble connecting, so hopefully we'll be joined from him soon. But in the meantime, Ashley, welcome to the live. Will you tell the audience a little bit about your university and where your university is?
Of course. Yes, so my name's Ashley and I work for the University of Strathclyde, which is based in downtown Glasgow in lovely Scotland. Some background information about Glasgow. So we're consistently voted friendly city in the world, which is certainly something I can agree with. Like yourselves, I also studied abroad. It was a fantastic experience. In terms of the university, so we have 4 faculties. We have our humanities and social sciences, our business faculty, our science faculty, and then we also have our faculty of engineering as well. In terms of courses, so we have 4-year degree structure for undergraduate students, and we have 1-year masters available as well.
Great, thanks. So we'll go to a couple of questions about university search and applying to the UK, and then we'll get back to some of the questions in the chat. So Ashley, when students are applying to a UK institution, they're asked to submit a reference. Who is the best person to act as a student's referee?
So for references, for undergraduate students, it's really important to use a reference that has worked closely with you in an academic environment. So the most common one would be a high school counsellor. They understand how you operate in an academic environment, what your grades are like, what your performance is like. So it's important to maybe use someone like that, or a teacher that you have a really great close relationship with that again has worked closely with you in an academic environment. And of course, for postgraduate students, you may find that you have been out of studies for a while. So you can also use an employer's reference as well.
Great. And going to Jackie, what are the deadlines for undergraduate and postgraduate applications for a UK university?
So it really depends on the university specifically, but for Falmouth University, it's rolling admissions. But, it depends on the specific program also. So just make sure to do your research. What I normally say is, hey, try to get it in before June 1st, just because you still have to do FAFSA, get the process, the visa. So there's a lot of other processes after you've been accepted that you need to go through. So that gives you enough time to get everything in order for when you start your studies.
Great. And would that be the same at your institutions, Jenny and Ashley?
You go ahead, Ashley.
Yeah, yes, so it's similar for ourselves as well. So for international students, it would be the 20th of June would be our deadline. Similarly for ourselves, the earlier that you can start your application, the better, because you want to really give yourself the opportunity. If you are, given an offer at the university, you want to give yourself some more time to make travel arrangements, choose your accommodation, and of course arrange your visa as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's very similar for us. We have no kind of hard and fast deadline, but yes, you want to leave yourself plenty of time to get all the other processes completed and to plan your arrival into the UK, so it's not going to be a rush. And accommodation, we do hold accommodation back for international students. So as long as you reserve your room before the 1st of July, you're still guaranteed to get accommodation in student residences. So there's no rush there, but yes, just the earlier you can get everything in order, the better it will be, really.
So we'll go to a question in the chat now from Melissa. Thank you for this question. Melissa asks, on the question of AP exams and timing, my daughter will be taking the AP exams her senior year, spring 2022. Is that too late to use to apply for fall 2022? So Ashley, Jenny, and Jackie, would you have any advice for Melissa and her daughter?
I think that's absolutely fine. That wouldn't be too late at all. She can actually make her application before she has taken those exams, and any offer that she has made would be conditional on the outcome of those exams. So yes, that would be absolutely fine.
Absolutely, I would agree as well. I think the biggest question that we come across quite a lot is the difference between conditional and unconditional offer. And as mentioned there, conditional would be on the conditions that you meet the minimum entry requirements, of course, and your case would be for AP. Fine.
Yeah.
Great.
Go ahead. And just to add to that, thanks, Jenna. And just to add to that, I know that sounds really late to find out, but that's just the normal process in the UK. So don't worry, don't stress out. That's a normal way to, get your exams and then get your unconditional when you receive those exam scores.
Great, and that leads into the next question, which Gina built on. She said she has that same question, that her son will sit for 2 APs this May and 2 or 3 next spring. So we answered the questions about that UK schools do issue contingent, which is called conditional offers pending final AP scores. But what if your student ends up getting a lower score on one of the APs than was required in the conditional offer? Maybe we can start with you, Jackie, and then Jenny and Ashley, if you have anything to add, please feel free to chime in as well.
Yeah, sure. So it really depends on the university, and if they will, sometimes they do accept a lower score, sometimes they don't. So like I said earlier, definitely reach out to the representatives, let them know what your options are, and then go from there. But I'd love to hear from Jenny or Sarah if they have any thoughts on that or anything to add.
Yeah, I think you're right there. Yes, it's always worth getting in touch with the university and just trying. It could be that, if he's only just missed it, then they'll accept, or it could be that if he's done well in the ones that are related to the subject he wants to study, then they'll take that into account as well. And if maybe the one where he's not done so well is not related to the course, then they won't take it into account so much. So yes, it's always worth getting in touch with the university to check.
Of course, absolutely. I think the key is just not to panic if he doesn't quite meet the requirements. Admissions will look at it holistically and treat each application on a case-by-case basis.
Great. And going to another question from the comments. Thank you, Margie, for this question. So we mentioned June deadlines, and regarding the June deadline, is that June before the fall session of a student's first year in university, or would that be June prior to their senior year in high school? Maybe we could start with you, Jenny, if you could help with that.
I think that would be the June prior to the fall session. So bearing in mind as well that a lot of UK students don't actually get their A-level results until August. So, you know, if you get your results in June and then you can change your offer from conditional to unconditional in June, then that still gives you plenty of time to do all the other processes, such as applying for your visa or completing your FAFSA.
Great. So going back to some of our questions around the university search and applying to UK universities, going to Ashley, how do you advise students on how to compare UK universities when they're making their search?
Absolutely. So I think it's really important. So that can include have a think around what subjects that you want to study. First of all, and UCAS is a really great source of information for that. You can input what subjects you want to study, and that will give you a list of universities throughout the UK that offer those specific subjects. And I think it's also important to have a think. So although the UK is much smaller than the US, every single university offers a different experience. So are you looking for a university that offers, you know, the vibrance of a city centre? Are you wanting a more traditional university within the countryside? So have a look at the university web pages and research what information you can find on that. Rankings are also important as well. So have a look at subject rankings, university rankings, and any you know, university awards that they have won recently as well, and that will certainly help. And just do a comparison on what information you can find. But I think it's just really down to you and what experience you want to get. So if you're quite an athletic person and you enjoy you know, a specific sport or a specific subject, what universities offer that, because every university will be different as well.
Great, thanks. Those are great tips. And we have another question in from the chat, which I think it'd be good for us to talk a little bit about what qualifications UK institutions accept from US students. So Kara asked, what tests could a running start student to prove proficiency in a subject? So I think it might be good just to chat a little bit about the range of qualifications that UK institutions accept from US students. So Jackie, could you start with telling us about the range of qualifications that Falmouth accepts from students?
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, Falmouth is a little bit more, it's a bit more flexible than most universities just because we are an arts-focused university, and we look at more of a holistic approach. So for Falmouth, we, you know, high school diploma, we do not require SAT or SAT subject tests, nor do we accept SAT subjects. Sorry, we don't require the SAT or ACT, and we don't require the APs or SAT subject tests. It's mainly about the student's passion in the subject, portfolio, and then they would also need to do an interview, but they would also need to supply a recommendation letter and a personal statement. But a lot of other universities, they look at, you know, GPA. You know, a lot of universities have waived the ACT or the SAT, but definitely check with the institutions. Some are asking for AP exams instead of SAT subject tests. So if you have a student who's applying for this September and this university requires APs or SAT subject tests, then it's really imperative to apply for AP exams in your district or the school before the deadline. I believe the deadline's beginning in March. So it's varied. Right now, this is a really weird time. Everyone is looking very closely at their entry requirements for each university, trying to be more flexible just because of what's going on with COVID and the SAT subject test being abolished. So, like I said, we're all working hard to, make sure that it's much more flexible for your school and for the student as well.
Great. And Jenny, would you like to add anything about the qualifications that Leeds Arts accepts from US students?
So we've always tried to be very flexible with US qualifications and accept a combination as well. So we normally have in the past asked for SATs and APs, but we do realise that especially this year it has been very difficult for students to always do that. So we do take a holistic approach to looking at the applications. And of course, the big advantage of being an arts university is that a strong portfolio can really go a long way to giving your application a strong advantage as well, because we're looking for potential. At this stage in your career, we are looking for potential. So a strong portfolio can really go a long way to demonstrating your interest in a subject, and that can really help you get that offer.
Okay. And, oh, fantastic. Thanks, Jenny. And Ashley, do you have anything to add for Strathclyde in terms of the qualifications that you accept?
Yes, so it's similar to Jenny. We do accept a combination, so AP exams, ACT. However, in light of course, the cancellations and delays due to COVID, and then, of course, the recent announcement from the College Board discontinuing SATs, we are being a lot more flexible this year. And historically, we may have not looked at AP honours classes, for example, but we will be going forward. So we recommend that if you are considering applying to the University of Strathclyde, to send us a copy of your transcripts and your high school diploma, and we'll look at things like classes as part of high school, whereas before we maybe wouldn't have. So we're being a lot more flexible this time round.
Great. And we can take, I think, maybe a couple more questions from the chat. So I see Rick, thank you for this question. He asked, would a US student with an associate's degree be able to transfer into a bachelor's program in the UK? So Ashley, would you like to start with this question, and then Jenny and Jackie, if you'd like to chime in from your institution's perspectives as well.
Of course. So yes, the answer to that question is yes. We have considered applicants who have completed associate degrees in the past. I guess it depends as well, of course, on the subject area that you have studied, depending on the course that you're applying for. But to answer your question, yes, we do consider associate degrees.
And that would be the same for us. Yes, we would consider associate's degrees. And whether you're looking for first year entry or second year entry, we would take your performance in the degree and the subject area into account. And of course, the portfolio. So yes, we would be able to accept that.
Yes, and just adding on to that, same. But, if you're looking at going into year 2, just be aware that you would need enough credits within that field of study to go into year 2. So if you're going into graphic design, for example, we would need to see enough credits from your associate's degree with graphic design for you to go and transfer into year 2. If not, we would recommend going into year 1. This really varies by every university.
So going back to some of our questions around the university search process and applying to UK universities, Ashley, could you share with us a little bit about the key differences between studying in the US versus the UK?
Yes, absolutely. So I guess the biggest difference really is the 4-year degree structure in Scotland versus the 3-year degree structure in England. So you may find that, studying in England, your degree may be a little bit more structured. versus the Scottish degrees, where in your first and second year you will have some choices depending on what subject area you want to focus on, to really give students the chance to major and either do a single honours or a joint honours degree in their final years. I myself studied abroad, as I mentioned, and I think from my perspective, the biggest difference is really just the demand in time. So a lot of classes you might finish late in the US. That's quite structured here in the UK, where classes at the earliest may start at 8 a.m. and classes will probably finish at latest 4 or 5 p.m, which is of course dependent on the university, but across Scotland that's quite common as well.
Great. I think we'll take another question from the chat. So thank you, Gina, for asking, do most of the colleges in the UK require students to sit for an interview, and what do those look like? I think this will vary again by course that the student is applying for. But, we can start with you, Jenny, if you'd like to comment if that's true for your institution, and then we can move to Jackie and then to Ashley to answer. Oh, sorry, Jenny, I can't.
Sorry, I muted myself because my children are fighting in the background. I don't know if you can.
We're working from home.
I'm trying to ignore them. Our university used to require all students to interview, but then unfortunately we found that we were just getting a few too many applications, which of course was a great thing, but we actually then moved away to portfolio review rather than interview. But in general, it will completely depend on the course you're applying for and on that particular university. And some universities will interview for some courses and not for others. For the vast majority of universities that do require an interview, if you are not in the UK at the time, then they will be able to organise an interview virtually. Of course, we've all got used to virtual everything at the moment, but yes, normally they can arrange it via kind of Teams or Skype. Or if you are in the UK, then quite often if you have to travel to attend an interview, it's a great opportunity to kind of meet the staff and see the campus and get a feel for the university as well. So yeah, it will very much depend on the university you're applying to and the type of course.
Great. Do you have anything to add to that, Jackie, for Falmouth?
Yeah, so basically for the majority of our programs, about 98% of them, we will ask for an interview after you submitted your portfolio or a video of your work. And it, like Jenny was saying, it is an opportunity to learn more about the department, about the university, the academics, see if it's a good fit. It's not just about who you are as a student, but also to learn a little bit more about the university and the department itself, and to ask any questions that have been on your mind. There are some, from the majority, from looking at overall UK universities, I would say the arts ones, arts focused, tend to ask for an interview. But then you get those higher tier universities like Cambridge, Oxford, that will also ask for an interview. But usually the middle, anything in between, they don't usually have an interview unless it's for a specific type of program.
Great. And Ashley, do you have anything to add for Strathclyde in terms of which courses would require an interview?
Yeah, so it's similar to Jenny. It depends on the subject area that you're applying for. You would usually find that subjects in humanities and business, we would just look at your entry criteria and assess whether we can give an offer based on your application as a whole without an interview. However, if you're applying for subjects in teaching, for example, you would usually find that you would need to go through an interview process. Architecture is also another subject that we would normally look at either an interview process, or we would request a portfolio for that as well.
Great. Well, we're coming to the close of our session, and we want to say thank you again to everyone for joining us. We will be running a Facebook Live at this time each day this week as part of UK Week, so we do encourage you to join us back here tomorrow for our next Facebook Live on making the most of the student experience in the UK. But before we go, I would like to ask each of our speakers who have joined us here today to if you want to share with the audience how people can get in touch with you or learn more about your university, that would be great. So could we start with you, Ashley, how people can get in touch and where they can go for more information about programs at Strathclyde?
Yes, so feel free to visit our website, which is Strath, that's STRATH, .ac.uk. Best way to find our details is by searching for the USA country page. And in that country page, you can find information on entry requirements, student testimonials. You can join our weekly webinars that we hold, and you can find our contact details on the Contact Us page.
Great. Jenny, could you tell us also a little bit how students, parents, and counselors can find out more about your institution and reach you?
Yes, absolutely. So our website, we're Leeds Arts University, and our website is leeds-art.ac.uk. And if you go to the international pages, then our contact details are there. The simplest way to get in touch with me would just be to email international@leeds-art.ac.uk. And similar to Ashley, like she said, on our website, you can find all the information about our courses and about being an international student in the UK and at Leeds Art. And you can also chat to a current student as well through the chat function.
Fantastic. And Jackie, how can people get in touch with you and learn more about Falmouth?
Yeah, so for Falmouth, you can go on our website, www.falmouth.ac.uk. We do have international pages, but we're still working on it. We have a few tweaks. But if you want to reach out to me directly, it's my name, jackie.christopher@falmouth.ac.uk. I'm happy to answer any questions, and I am based in New York, so I am within the same time difference. And we also on our website have international students, if you want to reach out to them directly, who can answer any questions of what it's like to study at Falmouth.
Great. I also want to encourage, if you want to learn more about the university search process, applying to the UK, studying in the UK, to visit the British Council USA website, where you can sign up to receive more information from us, and also to access our library of YouTube videos from the universities here and many more universities on a range of topics related to studying in the UK. At the link that was just dropped in the chat. So thank you again, everyone, for joining us. Thank you to Jackie, Jenny, and Ashley for joining us as well. And we hope that everyone's stays safe, stays well, and we look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.